Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and good afternoon for all our dear audiences, those at Malaysia zone time, and good morning for those who are in the Middle East zone time. I am Dr. Kawthar Bayoumi from the Academy for Islamic Civilization, Faculty of Social Sciences and Humanities, University Technology, Malaysia. First of all, I would like to express my warm welcome to our presenter, participants, and audiences to this session of the current trends in the Middle East International Joint Conference on COVID-19 Global Impact. Of course, I'll be a moderator for this third session, parallel session, and each presenter of our participant here will be given 10 to 12 minutes for the presentation, and then we will have a question and answer session at the end of presentation before concluding this session. So be prepared to jot down your questions and any comments for our dear presenters. The theme for this session is in education, and we have three papers presenters here, and I would like to ask our first presenter to start introducing himself, and we have the first paper entitled Contribution of Parental Influence on Pupils' Major Choice During COVID-19 Pandemic. So please, without further ado, I'd like to give the floor to our first presenter, Reni Merlina. Please, the floor is yours.
Hello, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the attention. My name is Reni Marlina. I am from Tanjung Priok University, and for today, I would like to present our research. With Haratua, Tio Maria Sritonga, Erwina Afafianti, and Hamdani. We have a same university from same university, and Andri Maulidi from the different university. We are from Tanjung Priok University, and Andri Maulidi from Palangkaraya University. Basically, I'm from Biology Education Study Program. Haratua, Erwina, and Hamdani from Physics Education Study Program, and Andri Maulidi from Science Study Program. So for today, I would like to present about contribution of parental influence on pupil major choice during COVID-19 pandemic. I conduct my research in Kayong Utara Regency. Where's the Kayong Utara Regency? There is is located in Kalimantan province, especially here. Yeah, here. Yeah, it is a Kayong Utara Regency. It is one of the regency in West Kalimantan province. It is youngest regency in West Kalimantan province, so that is make me interest to make or conduct the research there. For the background, we know about the Kayong Utara has many cultures such as Bugis, Javanese, Malay, Chinese, and Bayoumi. So all of students using mother language at home and sometimes at school. They always use mother language. So we know about the during pandemic, all of senior high school students just stay at home, and I think not only senior high school students but also all of students stay at home and learning and discussing with their parent of their close family at home about the homework. So the teacher, we know the teacher and school members don't 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 have many contribution and do not know the character of their students. Uh, Parents are the only ones who understand students' interests during pandemic. I mean, what the children interest, science, social, or language. And we know one of the research from ARIS 2017, he mentioned about the accuracy of parents' opinions in choosing a major for their children is based on various aspects, including the level of parental education. I mean, the level of parents' education and parents' understanding of the major in school, like three majors, as I said before, such as science, social, and language. And then parent expectation of their children in the future, the social status of parents in society. And for the aim of this research is to determine the contribution of parental influence on pupil major choice and senior high school in Kayong Utara Regency during COVID-19 pandemic. For the methodology, the sample consists of 40 respondents who were randomly selected from 4 schools based on purposive sampling in Kayong Utara Regency. And the instrument used was a questionnaire with 28 statements that were formulated by C-square at the 0.05 level of variable significance. We know general process of student specialization. For the general, I mean, before pandemic, the start process is specialization test for the student, and then continue to psychology test, and we have one process is selected by teachers. And after all of the tests, the school always doing discuss with the student, interview, or discussing with the teacher and head vice of school. I mean, like the head vice of the curriculum in every schools. So the all of process is part of the one decision, determination of student major like science, social, and language major. So what happened in the during COVID-19 pandemic? In COVID-19 pandemic, we also doing specialization tests and psychology tests, but discussing and interviewing with the student face to face, we don't the school not do that. So the process just give the like a paper or like instrument to all of the parents of the student, like this parental responses, and then after that during discussion with the head vice of school and the school make a decision about the determination of student major. There is science, social, and language major. So we know about all of the process just based on parental responses. So what the parent said, there is the make a like make sure for the school to choose there is a appropriate choice for the all of the students just based on the parental responses. And the result is the findings of this research describe that 48.73% of respondents strongly agree that their parents contributing their major choice at school during coronavirus pandemic. And the second is contribution of parental influence on pupil major choice based on the kind of the good profession, 37%, and the parent based on skills to work for the future, 52%, and social class like how the every every social society among society. I mean, like um, in the area. And the results, the contribution of parents in pupil major choice are emotional support that helping the students understand when faced with difficult challenges. On the whole, 43% of the respondents chose science major, 41% and 16% in social and language major respectively. So we know about the uh, we know about the student choose or student choose the major of science and social is not really different, not really significantly, not really different significantly. And the result of this finding seemed to determine that the pupils in senior high school in Payung Utara Regency, West Kalimantan Province area obtained many contributions and some form of dependence in making major choice from their parents. Additionally, the guidance could help the parents talk to their children about what fun their future job could be. This is really important to conduct learning community between schools member and parents. I think it is one of the good way uh, to have the school and parent bond in the future. Well, for the conclusion, parents have different views about the major in school. This is due to the lack of socialization about what and how the use of appropriate major for the future of the children. We know about before COVID-19, parents' opinions were used as a complementary factor, not the huge factor to strengthen the determination of their children major in the school. But now, I mean, during the COVID-19 pandemic, the selection process relied on the responses and opinion of parents. Well, for the suggestion, we think about the school committee should provide meeting collaboratively to support to parents on major choice with them about future educational and career opportunities from all of the major junior high school, such as science, social, and language major. There is from me thank you for your attention. There is my email. If you have any question, you can you can in this email.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Marlena, for this informative presentation on the contribution of the parental influence on pupils' major choice during COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for this presentation. And now let us move on forward for our next presenter, Ahmed Mohammed, who is going to present a paper on the implementation of the Quranic learning program in the perspective of parents, again, parents and teachers at the public elementary school in Indonesia. Please, together, welcome Ahmed Mohammed. Please proceed, and the floor is yours. Our next presenter, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed. Hopefully you could join. Maybe there is some technical problem or connection problem. In fact, we have another presenter for this session. The session, as I just informed at the beginning, we have 3 papers to be presented here in this session. The first one is already presented by Marlena, and the second one, we are just waiting for our second presenter, and then we move to the third one, and maybe we have to wait for a while. I think there are some technical problems or maybe connection error. He couldn't join us until now. We will wait for a while and then we continue our session. Meanwhile, just we wait together and we may see this announcement from UTM.
UTM, University Technology Malaysia. Innovative, entrepreneurial, global. A global award-winning university in engineering and technology that coexists in the community to contribute to mankind. We invest in laboratories and facilities, empowering our people to solve life challenges. We nurture innovative minds through research and teaching because innovative minds drive competitive and innovative research culture. Life problems are brought into the labs to test our inventions against imperfections. Our facilities enrich our students' life because conducive environment triggers creative minds. We empower students to be active contributors in the ecosystem. UTM embraces inclusivity and diversity. Together, making a difference, our entrepreneurial talents continue to improve the quality of life. We reach out to where it matters, the society. Treating water for consumption. Our research products and services have made a difference to many lives. We provide engineering solutions for sustainable development and our engineering solutions uplift the quality of life and well-being. Our experts are mobilized to affected sites to respond to calls for help. We are proud to serve and make a difference. UTM strives with total commitment to attain excellence in science, technology and engineering for the well-being and prosperity of mankind. UTM, prospering lives.
So welcome again, and now our presenter, the second presenter for this session, is ready now. Please welcome Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, who our next presenter for this session. Please, the floor is yours. Also, let me remind you that our presenter, the paper of our presenter entitled The Implementation of the Quranic Learning Program in the Perspective of Parents and Teachers at a Public Elementary School in Indonesia. So again, without further ado, let me again introduce our presenter, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, please. Please, you may proceed. Mr. Ahmed, are you here? Is there any problem? Of course, in such cases, usually we have to cope with new norm of COVID-19, and also one of the norms is this normal technical errors and connection problem. But we have to just cope with that, waiting for Mr. Ahmed Mohammed to join and to proceed with his presentation. And again, I'd like to remind you, meanwhile, that our third presentation will be about also according to this theme of this session, which is in education. The third presentation will be in investigating the merits and demerits of the extent of Iranian university students' familiarity with digital portfolio creation tools during COVID-19 pandemic. So it will be very much exciting to see this presentation also. And hopefully Mr. Ahmed Mohammed could join us right now and proceed with his presentation. Mr. Ahmed, can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. We are very sorry for this technical problem. I think also if our third presenter is here, we may proceed with third presentation, and then we can come back to Mr. Ahmed Mohammed after this technical problem is fixed. Our third presenter, Mohammed Ali Akbari. Hopefully you are also here. And the title, as I said, about the investigation of the merits and demerits and the extent of Iranian university students' familiarity with digital portfolio creation tools during COVID-19 pandemic. Hopefully also our third presenter is here and no technical or connection error is there. So he might want to proceed with the presentation. Okay. Maybe we have to wait for a while for our presenters. Unfortunately, this took a long time, but it's normal, quite normal in such cases, and we have to just cope with that. This is the new norm, having everything online, and then we could just like face these technical issues. It's so normal, and we are still waiting for the presentation on the implementation of the Quranic learning program in the perspective of parents and teachers at the public elementary school in Indonesia from our second presenter, Ahmed Mohammed. Hopefully he could join us at any time. So we are waiting to listen to that presentation. And it looks very, very interesting to know about this Quranic learning program in the perspective of parents and teachers at the public elementary school from Indonesia. And then we have our third also presenter, and the paper also is very interesting, investigating the merits and demerits and the extent of Iranian university students' familiarity with digital portfolio, which is one of the very important topics during the COVID-19. We are turning to digitalization and online fully after we just previously we partially maybe have involvement with online and digital portfolio and digital contacts and work, and now we move on and we are about, in fact we are already coping with that, with all this difficulty as just happening right now in this session, facing it right now. Hopefully, I hope that our presenters could join us at any time and overcome this difficulty. Then we move on with our session. Meanwhile, let me again refer you to the announcement from UTM while just checking with our presenter about the technical issue that they are facing, and then we continue our session. And may we just move forward and listen to this announcement again while checking with our presenter and waiting for them to join us. Okay, now welcome Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, our second presenter. Finally, Alhamdulillah, everything is solved and you are here. We are very glad to welcome you again. We kept on welcoming you on your behalf, and now we please our dear audiences, participants, and presenters here in this third parallel session on the theme of education. Please welcome again our second presenter, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed. Without any further ado, please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Bayoumi. Well, can we start?
Yeah, please. Start.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Ahmed Mohammed. Very pleased to be part of this virtual international European conference organized by UK Malaysia. And it is a very great honor for me to speak in front of you in the prestigious and reputable University UK Malaysia. I would like to deliver my presentation of the implementation of quadratic learning program in the perspective of parents and teachers during outbreak pandemic COVID-19. I'm here with my co-author, Mr. Dr. Aris Rusnandar, representing Postgraduate Universitas Islam Raden Rahmat Malang, Indonesia. Okay, let me share my presentation. First of all, let me share my presentation for a moment.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to share with you the context of this study. This is about to recite and to comprehend the Quran. The Quran for Muslims is very important because it is the last miracle in here and hereafter. That's why we raise question, why do you learn the Quran? That's why when Sayyidina Aisha was asked about the more excellent of manners than Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kada khuluqun nabi, or how about the Prophet manners and characters? She replied, kana khuluqul Quran. Allah declared in Al-Quran, wa innaka la khuluqin azim. You are of the greatest, most tremendous characters and manners because your manners and your characters. That means everything in the Holy Quran that Allah revealed to the Prophet, everything of 6,666 verses in the Holy Quran, scholar can pull out a description of the Prophet's good manner and characters. Allah also declared in the Quran, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ يَرْجُو اللَّهَ وَالْيَوْمَ الْآخِرَ وَذَكَرَ اللَّهَ كَثِيرًا. There was for you from Muhammad, from the Prophet Muhammad, the role model, meaning there is no other role model for you. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from this slide, there are three arrows inherited each other. Effective learning is there is because they work by parents. Parents showing example good behavior and reading the Quran as their daily activity create harmony and peaceful atmosphere. The arrow and bubble you can see interrelated that effective Quranic learning. This study used qualitative research method by using natural subscript design. Researchers used in-depth interview, participation observation, and documentation. Due to pandemic COVID-19, all activities should follow the regulation, for example, using face shield or mask, hand washing, and physical distancing. In interview, the content aspect of the researcher want to find data, opinions, feelings, perceptions, knowledge, and experiences, as well as the informed sense of the question raised by the researcher in accordance with the focus of this study. In this slide, let's talk about the community implementation of the good learning. What is community in this study? A group of people in the same place with particular characteristics. What is community-based education? It is based on unique of religion, social, culture, aspiration, and potential of the community as embodiment of education from, by, and for the community people. What is unique community in this study? Formal school conducted Quranic learning for the Quran Education Center, or we call KTK, conducting the Quran learning every morning, where other schools even have not started yet. This activity conducted without breaking the curriculum in public elementary school, and it is conducted by equating joint cooperation with other institutions with TTK and Nur Tembok Indah Pasuruan in Indonesia. The function of the Quran education for TPK stands for Taman Pendidikan Al-Quran in Indonesia, developing all potentialities of children from early ages in order to actualize the wholeness of children education as a whole, so that later the ideal future generation will be built who are faithful, noble, intelligent, and independent. In addition, TPK's function is to carry out learning who are active, creative, effective, and fun, and develop their life of skill. The goal of the Quranic Education Center, or TPK, providing an Islamic-based education platform, especially Al-Quran education for local residents, trying to improve and provide education to the general public to be able to obtain proper religious education, teaching how to recite the Quran properly according to the rules of recitation to the students, emphasize good characters, values by imitating the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his companions. What is the benefit of reading? Let's talk about reading now. Reading in journal increases vocabulary, knowledge about grammar and syntax. We get that point in the book, the Quran. However, the Quran gives us knowledge, inspiration, etc. Reading will invite us to introspect and ask serious questions about our values, feelings, and relationships with others. Reading sparks the imagination. Imagination by imagining the world, everything in it, complete with all the events, locations, and characters. Reading the Quran according to Islam is very important. Why? Because it is not only reading a book, but it is inspire the reader to behave properly and appropriately, and also to broaden the knowledge, science, etc. The Quran is nutritious and compelling book. One of the characteristics of nutritious book is stirring the heart. The Quran stirs the thought, feelings, and even action of believers. Reading the Quran means having a tool with which to recognize, understand, and at the same time distinguishing the straight and noble way of rather than a discrete way of life, which is misleading.
Yes. Yeah. You can see
the presentation, madam?
Hello?
Hello?
Can you read this slide?
Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello? Yes? Yes?
I can see the first slide.
Okay. We continue there.
Yes, please.
Okay. Well, okay. I'm presenting. Well, reading the Quran means having a tool with which to recognize, understand, and at the same time distinguish the straight and noble way of life rather than this physical way of life which is misleading. Reading the Quran will have an effect on increasing the quality of one faith, which is reflected in worship morals. The effect of Quran learning program in particular school Tembok Raja 2 Pasuruan, Indonesia, carried out in the morning and form a peace field to understand and respect each other so that there is no quarrel between students. Therefore, my study here to find out the Quranic learning process, reading and its benefit. The implementation of teaching and learning is carried out every morning, supported by the rule and involving the parents, and it is conducted well by establishing collaboration among parents, school, and other institutions. To emphasize the effectiveness of Quran learning, we have to be able to face the challenging situation. The persistence of the parent of children in manifesting the wishes of their children to be successful, giving attention and guidance to their children is absolutely necessary. The formation of leading characters can be carried out through exemplary and persuasive approaches, namely inviting all school members in a smooth and polite manners by providing logical and good reasons and prospect and being able to convince them. Providing example of uswatun hasana to maintain istiqamah or consistent recite the Quran together with these children have a positive influence. I come to conclusion now. There are 4 important points. Number 1, reading, memorizing, and comprehend the Quran can be advantageous for students in 2 aspects. Students can get greater knowledge on how to recite the Quran properly. Allah would bestow or give blessing to students. For instance, students will get improvement of akhlaqul karimah or noble behavior, such as respect others, respect elder people, help each other, to have good manners such as courtesy, honesty, integrity, patience, and so on and so forth. Number 2, I recommend other schools to do the same practice as per these schools do, because in the public school, they have limited time to study religion 2 hours per week. Number 3, involve parents in the process of learning to support, motivate, and guide the students, and establish joint cooperation with other institutions do such activity with, like we do cooperate with Madrasah Dini An-Nur or TPK An-Nur Tembok Indah Pasuruan, Indonesia. That's all. This is my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and your input and suggestion is highly appreciated. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, for this informative presentation about the implementation of the Quranic learning program in the perspective of parents and teachers at the public elementary school. And in fact, this is a very important topic. And because all we know that Quran and all the values that are there help a lot in instilling security and peace and all those values that we need during the pandemic. So not to panic, so to feel secure, to feel the peace, and also at the same time have all these values in dealing honestly and everything. Thank you very much for this informative presentation. But before we proceed, I want to know more and more, and maybe you can just give us more information and more details, because the presentation is just limited to 12 minutes, and thank you for just like sticking to the time. But maybe we can have more details from you. But let me first ask if there are any questions from our audiences. If no, you can also give us more details about your perspective on how you see the Quranic learning implementation programs for pupils, maybe in elementary school and maybe for higher schools, rather than that.
Okay, thank you. Any question from the audience, please?
Until now, I did not receive. I'm just looking into the chat. Please, our dear audiences, now the floor is yours. If you have any questions, any comments for our dear presenter, please proceed.
Anyhow, I appreciate for your input and feedback. You know,
yes.
While I'm talking about the Quranic learning process program in this is very important. You know, we have been establishing the Quran learning program from early ages. Not even in the kindergarten. So we have one of the methodology that try give opportunity to young children to learn how to recite the Quran. Even we have been established for the students for the children. It is 4 years old. 4 years old started to recite the Quran, and by conducting this, we have a collaboration with what we call an institution, what we call religion school. So because in Indonesia, in general, Islamic school in Indonesia, what we call Madrasah Diniyah.
This is separate from this elementary school.
Yes, beside of the school, they are institution. So we join cooperation with the elementary school. Yes.
Okay,
So
great.
the performers, the one who handle the activity of Quranic learning is the Madrasah Dinia, or we call what we call TPK, or we call Quranic learning centers. So we went together. You know, we make agreement, memorandum of understanding. So they please ask to please the Madrasah Dinia to perform their learning,
The learning program.
the learning program. So it is started in the morning. Even it is 1.25 hours before the lecture to start. So early in the morning after subuh praying, a lot of students, about 220 students come from the resident come to the school, and then the Madrasah Dinia Anur, or what we call TPK, present how to read the Quran correctly and properly.
This is great. And by the way, let me ask you about the elements of the learning of Quran. It's just involve reciting correctly, or it involves just tafsir, or extracting the values and giving examples. If, for example, they studied one surah today, and after they learn how to recite it correctly, then there will be some values extracted from that and examples from life, so they can know how to recite and at the same time apply the example as they learn from the surah.
Okay, well, from the beginning, we have we give them the way how to recite the Quran correctly and properly. So after they they go all the stages, all the part or the level is over. Then what we call the khotam, and finish the reciting the Quran reading program. Then we continue with other higher level, what we call Madrasah Dinia. From this, we give the student how to understand, how to read the Arabic language. Even all written book in Arabic, there is no harakah. We teach them how to understand that by learning what we call nahwu, like nahwu sorof. You recognize that? Nahwu sorof. Then nahwu sorof is the grammatical study, and then sorof how to memorize the alphabets, and also know how the let's say fi'il madi and fi'il mudhari, like qara'a yaqra'u, qara'a zaitun, in the past. Yaqra'u zaitun, in the time being he reading book.
Yes.
This is the method we equip them how to understand the Arabic written Arabic. From that, we of course we hope they will comprehend how to get the value of the Quran and implement in their daily life. So this is the step, Also, we have also like what we call Aqidah and Tawheed.
It's very important.
Tawheed, we have a certain groups, and also we also give them the akhlaqul kalimah, noble characters, behaviors. So also we also teach them the Arabic, how to speak, how to read.
This is very interesting. Have you made any quantitative study about the outcome of that until now, about the outcome of this learning until now?
Well, the outcome, of course, this is the good impression from the community. Even in the conflict, I try to give offer to the parents. Are you willingness to send your children to learn religion? Yes, they say. Understand? They register. Of course, we have to provide what we call a healthy protocol. Please make sure please make sure your children equipped with face shield, mask, and equip them and educate them to wash their hand before I start learning. I'll be studying. And of course, distancing should be there. So, and also the teacher and also the supervisor should come to see and supervise. Come on, ayo, come on, this lesson, pasti there, something like that. So,
learning general knowledge, science.
And also learning general knowledge also.
General knowledge, like mathematics, maths,
Yes.
biology.
This is in the elementary school of the school.
This is
So
great.
in the study, we have two benefits. We have religion study, and also we do not lose the curriculum general knowledge in the elementary school.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this information, and think this is very interesting, in fact. And we love to hear a lot and know a lot about that. But our third presenter is already here, so we have to thank you very much for this informative presentation. For the extra details on that program, I wish you just like all the best in this program, and you may just extend your program to other levels. Thank you very much, Mr.
I also told my co-author, this program is good. Please spread out in Indonesia, because not a lot of elementary school do that same practice.
Thank you very much. Please accept our all thanks for this. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you. Assalamualaikum. Now, let me, our dear audiences in this third parallel session, to welcome our third presenter for today. The paper is entitled "Investigating Merits, Demerits, and the Extent of Iranian University Students' Familiarity with Digital Portfolio Creation Tools During COVID-19 Pandemic." Please, together welcome our third presenter. Please, the floor is yours. Proceed.
This is Kawthar Bayoumi. Thanks a lot for your input and suggestion.
Thank you, Mr.
Inshallah, in the next International Gym Conference.
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamu warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, please. Madiha Fakhr. Yes, please. Proceed. The floor is yours. Yes, welcome. You may proceed with your presentation. I can't hear you. Maybe you have to check the audio, your audio, please. I did not receive your voice yet. Can you check your audio or the mic in your device? I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I did not receive your voice. Can you hear me clearly? Okay.
I recommend Mahdia to unplug your headset, maybe.
Do you have a headset?
Yes.
Maybe try to unplug it. Unplug it. Use your device, Mike. Yeah. Okay. No, you're not yet. So it's not the headset. Maybe you have to check the setting of your audio. No problem. It's okay. It's normal. Just go to the setting of your device and check the audio setting. Sometimes it lags. Okay, I have another suggestion. Can you just log out and try to log in again? Before you log in, it would give you just a note that you have to check your mic first. Try to check it. If you hear your voice, just log in. Okay, we will wait for you. Okay, you can log out and log in. Thank you so much. Okay, hopefully Madiha can join us soon. It's very challenging working online, but also interesting trying to fix out all these technical issues. And then we proceed with our life.
From Iran or from Bangladesh?
Iran.
Who?
You.
Me? No, I'm from Sudan.
I'm from Sudan. تكلم اللغة العربية جيد ها؟
نعم أتكلم اللغة العربية.
السودان هذا لغة فيها فصحية تكلم لغة فصحية على طريقة القرآن.
فصحى.
فصحى.
ليس تماما.
تماما.
Thank you so much. Hopefully, our third presenter can join us also and overcome. Alhamdulillah, we can see now. Please try. I hope it's fixed now. Unfortunately, it's still the problem is there. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't receive your voice. I don't know what's the problem. Okay. Let us see. Have you checked the setting of your audio? Can you please try to unmute yourself and try to test it again? Are you still with us, Madia? Okay. Yeah, I can hear your voice, but it's so.
Can you hear it? So sorry.
I can hear it, but it's so far. It's not so clear, but Alhamdulillah, at least we can hear. Okay,
you.
Can you just raise it? Try to shout while we're presenting. Yes, right. Yes, we can hear you right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Okay, hello everybody again. Yes. Can you see my PowerPoint?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, sorry. Okay. Now, can you see my PowerPoint?
Yes, it's there.
Okay, in the name of God, I'm Mahdiya Fakhar, PhD candidate in teaching English as foreign language from Ilam University, and my co-author is Professor Mohammed Ali from Ilam University. As you can see, the title of my presentation is Investigating Merits, Demerits, and the Extent of Iranian University Students' Familiarity with Digital Portfolio Creation Tools During the COVID-19 Pandemic. Okay. As you know, the provision of education has undergone salient changes worldwide during the previous decades. One of the greatest challenges which has influenced the educational system internationally is COVID-19 pandemic. It has led to the cease of face-to-face instruction almost overnight, requiring the teachers, students, and institutions in general to switch to virtual education or online learning. And pragmatic guidelines and instructional videos related to the use of different types of educational technologies are needed to be provided for all teachers and students according to their levels and educations. But one of the challenges that university students has faced during the last 7 months of dealing with this special virus was the manner of preparing, doing, sharing, and sending their homework to their teachers. Accordingly, digital portfolios, as one of the most effective tools for teaching, learning, and assessment, were used to be investigated from the students' points of view. And as you may know, e-portfolio is defined as a methodology of alternative assessment which allows the students manage, organize, and distribute the personal information pertinent to their academic or professional activities. But despite the numerous benefits afforded by electronic portfolios, these innovators must address a number of challenges. And some researchers asserted some challenges such as the relatively long time periods that the teachers and the students have to spend to engage with e-portfolio processes, and the demand for teachers or students to have technological competence, and the students' lack of motivation to use e-portfolios. Some other researchers highlighted 7 areas in which challenges may arise. For example, hardware and software, security and privacy, intellectual property and digital rights, usability, assessment, acceptance, and managing expectations, and long-term maintenance. So, as such, existing research highlights the complexities in application of e-portfolio learnings and assessment processes. It is important then to examine the current status quo in Iran and Iranian universities. So the main purpose of this study was to answer these 3 research questions. Number 1, what types of digital portfolios creation tools do Iranian university students use to do their homework? And to what extent are Iranian university students familiar with digital portfolio creation tools? And what are the most important problems in Iran with regard to the use of educational technologies, like, for example, them in Iran? Okay, but here we have some research hypotheses too. For example, the students' level of familiarity with this tool is moderate, or the demerits and merits of portfolio tools from the students' points of view are moderate. And a student's familiarity with digital portfolio tools is statistically different between gender, different educational levels, and different age groups. And also, we said that there is no strategic plan for the use of educational technologies in the educational system of Iran and in Iranian universities, or education in Iran should go toward the use of educational technologies. And most of the students have never taken part in any professional development programs in terms of learning and using educational technologies. But the methodology of our study, at first, participants, 66 Iranian university students from Ilam University took part in the study and filled out an electronic questionnaire. Out of 66 students, about 44% and 55% were men and women, and about 65% of the respondents held BA, about 28% were MA students, and only about 6% of the respondents were PhD candidates. And all participants were native speakers of Persian, hence the questionnaire was translated to Persian and distributed among them. And the instruments, a researcher-made questionnaire was developed, validated, and electronically distributed among the students. This questionnaire encompassed 2 parts. The first part of the questionnaire gathered personal information like age, sex, and educational level, and the second part consisted of 47 items in Likert scale relating to the participants' familiarity with different digital portfolio tools and their merits and demerits. It is important to note that the reliability index of the questionnaire was estimated to be about 0.84, and as you know, the Cronbach alpha of more than 0.70 is acceptable and considered as reliable. And regarding the validity of the questionnaire, a panel of experts from the university were asked to check the validity of the instrument. But about data collection and data analysis procedures, the questionnaire was electronically distributed among the participants, and they were called upon to answer the questions. Having collected the required data, in order to start analyzing the data, at first a KM test was used to test the normality of the data. Afterwards, based on the research questions and hypotheses, the statistical package, or SPSS, version 26 was employed to calculate the dependent and independent sample test, ANOVA, binomial test, and chi-square. But what about the results? Here we have the answers to the question. As I said, the first research question was asked to see what digital e-portfolio curation tools do the students use to do their homework and to send their homework to their university professors. As you can see, it is worth noting that Moodle, as one of the most widely used learning management systems in the world, which empowers millions of educators with flexible open source technology, is used in Iranian universities as well. And as indicated in the table, more than half of the students use Word docs, PDFs, Excel, and PowerPoint files. 29% of them use handwritten files and send them as a photo to their professors. And about 5% provided an audio or video file. It is worth mentioning that some of the students checked more than one option, which is illustrated in the table in row number 7. Question number 2 was the extent of Iranian university students' familiarity with digital portfolio curation tools for doing their homework. As you can see in the table, a list of digital portfolio tools provided for the student to see the extent of Iranian familiarity with different tools. And as you can see, about 1/3 of the students were familiar with none of them, unfortunately, and the most well-known digital portfolio tools was WordPress, which 70% of the students were familiar, and followed by voice-to-read tools, Microsoft OneNote, and Google Sites with the frequency value of 11, and FreshGrade, EduBlock, CISA, TrueRing tools with frequency value of 1.5% were the least well-known digital portfolio tools among the Iranian students. It is okay. The third question, the students were asked to elaborate on the most important problems in Iran with regard to the use of educational technologies. As indicated in the table, the most important problem was infrastructures with the frequency value of 41.5%, followed by educational system, then educational policy, and the last one, teachers and university professors, that were rated at the third and fourth problems. So the most important problem was related to the infrastructures of the educational system. But what about the hypotheses? At first, the main research hypothesis was the students' familiarity with the digital portfolio curation tools was as a moderate level. And as you can see in the table, the significance level was more than 5%. And so the research hypothesis was confirmed. The students' familiarity was at a moderate level. The second hypothesis, the demerits of the digital portfolio tools are moderate. As you can see, the significance level was lower than 5%, and it shows that the disadvantages of digital portfolio curation tools from the students' points of views were higher than moderate, and so this hypothesis was rejected. The third one was about the merits of digital portfolio tools, that they say, is it at a moderate level? And as you can see, again, the significance level was greater than 5%, and this hypothesis was also confirmed. About okay, what happened? The fourth hypothesis was about the students' familiarity with digital portfolio tools in terms of genders. We asked, is it statistically different from among male and female students? And as you can see in the table, there was no statistically significant differences between males and females there in terms of their familiarity with digital portfolios. So this hypothesis was also rejected. And about the fifth and sixth hypotheses, that the level of familiarity of students with digital portfolio tools varies statistically between different educational levels and different between age groups. As you can see in the table, There was no statistical differences between the students' level of familiarity with these tools in terms of among different educational levels and among different age groups. But although it was supposed that the higher the educational level, the greater the extent of familiarity with these tools. But the 7 hypotheses was also confirmed that we said there is no strategic plan for the use of educational technology in educational system of Iran and in Iranian universities. The 8 hypotheses that education in Iran should go towards the use of educational technologies was also confirmed because the significance level was less than 5%. And the last hypothesis that most of the students have ever taken part in some professional development programs for learning and using educational technologies, this was not confirmed and it was rejected. Because as you can see in the table, most of the students, about 70% of them, have not taken part in any professional development programs for learning and using educational technologies in educational technologies. But discussion and conclusion, as you know, educational technology has immensely influenced our work, and its ubiquitous presence has changed the process of teaching and learning in our formal and open educational system. For example, at the present time, various means of educational technologies like learning management systems, web tools, social media, and etc. are being used in teaching and learning processes. And digital e-portfolios as a purposeful collection of students' work that tell the story of a student's efforts, progress, and achievement in one or more areas is another kind of educational technologies that has been increasingly used, specifically during the last 7 months in COVID-19 pandemic. As the conclusion, the current study enriched the literature related to the, of course, it tried to enrich the literature related to the familiarity of Iranian university students with digital portfolio curation tools and their opinions about merits and demerits of them. The findings reveal that the students' familiarity with these tools were at a moderate level, and about 1/3 of the participants were not familiar with these tools. It was also indicated that there were no statistically significant differences between the students' familiarity level with these tools and their educational degrees, age groups, and gender. However, it was, as I said, it was supposed that the higher the educational degrees, the higher the levels of familiarity with these different kinds of educational technologies. In addition, they believe that the disadvantages of using these kinds of educational technologies is more than their advantages, of course, from the students' points of view. And furthermore, they claim that the most important problems and challenges for the application of educational technologies in Iran is related to the infrastructures and educational system, and they believe that there is no strategic plan for the application of educational technologies in Iran's educational system. The above mentioned points might help us explore the possibility of setting up instructional and precautionary programs for university students in educational systems in Iran, which guarantee their benefits from the application of different types of educational technologies. And they pointed out that the education in Iran should go towards the use of such educational technologies, which requires the educational policymakers and material developers to redefine and modify constituents of the existing educational system. This study highlights the fact that Iran's educational system in general and university curriculums in particular need to be revised and replanned with respect to the inclusion of different kinds of educational technologies into its programs. It also emphasizes that teachers and students' lack of knowledge and skills in terms of educational technologies should be led to the provision of some professional development programs and holding some instructional workshops for both university masters and students to promote their knowledge and skills and to consequently fulfill the requirements and expectations of the time. It is important to point out that one of the main limitations of this study was related to the number of participants. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the questionnaire was electronically distributed, and unfortunately, only 66 students took part in the study. Hence, in order to increase the generalizability of the data with more confidence, the researchers suggest to conduct the research with a large number of participants. Thank you very much for your warm attendance and rapt attention.
Thank you so much for the presentation and for this interesting topic. I think also one of the topics of the time, and this is how we evaluate students. One of these means by using this e-portfolio, and it's very challenging, I understand, for students, for many students. But one of the things that was very just like interesting for me, when one of your findings, you said that the students perceive that the disadvantages of this e-portfolio is higher than the advantages. How come they reached this conclusion? Why they said that?
Because we had some items in the questionnaire that, for example, using digital portfolios can raise the students' anxiety and stress. And questions like these led me to the conclusion that the disadvantages is more than its advantages, especially for Iranian university students.
I see.
Especially because they don't have enough knowledge and enough skills about the use of different kinds of educational technologies in their learning process. Yes, they feel stressed. And so they are demotivated.
Yeah, I see.
Question for me.
Okay, yes, but before you proceed with this question, I just want to remind you and ourselves we have only, I think, 12 minutes left. So you proceed with your question, and then after all, if no more questions, we can conclude our session. Please ask.
Okay, thank you. Great, and that's good to hear your presentation. But question to you: why do you use the quantitative method instead of qualitative method in this?
Can you repeat it again? I didn't hear you.
He is maybe he is asking why you used quantitative rather than qualitative research.
Because you know that we are dealing with COVID-19 pandemic, and we didn't have access to a large population. We couldn't distribute the questionnaire handed by hand. So I decided to use quantitative assessment approach.
I just want to maybe just have a suggestion for you. You know, if you use a quantitative method, you just have like in general. If you want to go in deep, better to have to use qualitative. By you have interview and then record observation directly to the field, and also documentation. So we have insight feelings because it is related with social science.
Yes, you're right.
Maybe after post-pandemic, we can try to to more deep expand the deeper the structure, so that you can you can deeper output from the research. So
yes, you mean that? Yes, you mean that for more bottom-up analysis, we need to do more qualitative research. So for sure, for the next research projects, I will do it.
Yes. Okay.
Maybe it's a good idea because it's very interesting, and now because we all of a sudden we have to face this pandemic and try to cope with that by different means. One of that is to proceed on for our education. We have to cope and develop our skills of online and digital usage. So we have to cope with that. So now over a year, and then I think by now most of us and most of the students can just have a moderate level, if not considerable level of skills of using these education technologies, because it's for most of the world, it's the only means for just proceeding with our educational process. But for post-pandemic, maybe you can extend this the sample of your study, include other samples from different universities all over Iranian universities, and also maybe you can also, as Mr. Ahmed suggested, you use both qualitative and quantitative, because I think you need both, because you would have a big number, so you cannot reach all that by interview or by qualitative means. So you can reach by doing this questionnaire, and also you may leave one open-ended question in the questionnaire for any other feedback or qualitative idea, in-depth idea about this. So it's very interesting, and I think it has just like a good feedback and update on the use of technology during this pandemic, and then we can be prepared later if unfortunately we faced something like that again. We have to be prepared. Okay,
Thank
any
you
more
so
questions?
much. If there is any other question, you can ask. Sorry, and thank you so much for your informative comments. I will follow them for sure in future.
Thank you so much. And yes, you have anything to add, Mr. Ahmed? Okay, if no more question and no other feedback, I would like to thank all our presenters for this session today, and those who are presenting here and present live right now, Mr. Ahmed Mohammed and Madia Fakr from Iran. Thank you both, and thank you for our presenter Marlena, also the first one, and thank you for our audiences. And with that, we conclude our session. Thank you very much, and stay well, and see you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.
One question. Is it recorded?
Yes.
Is it recorded, the presentation?
Excuse me?
My presentation.
Is it recorded, my presentation, Ms. Kawthar?
You can watch it. Yeah. You can watch it in Facebook. Of Social Sciences UTM Facebook. You can find this.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalam.
Mantap, mantap. Ayo ke lapor.